Welcome back to episode 33 of On the Wild. I'm Anuj Basker with Riley Keenan as always.
Feels weird.
This is so weird. Like, this is like an awkwardly close couch.
We're very aware how small this couch is.
Very much aware.
We're in a bit of a transitional period right now.
Yeah. Still a work in progress. We're still working towards building an actual set.
Yeah. With a proper background.
Yeah.
Hopefully to equate to our last one, but
Mm-hmm.
that'll be tough to replicate.
Yeah. Because now having this, I'm like valuing how good that set was.
I know. We had so much more space. Like, I feel like eye contact was a bit less awkward.
We weren't literally like right beside each other.
Yeah. But it's fine. We'll get through it.
Yeah, I'll be fine. But the NFL's back.
Yes, sir.
So, that's fun. Starts up tomorrow at the time of this recording.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucs will play the Cowboys in Tampa Bay. They'll be lowering the banner. So we're not gonna predict that game because we don't want to look dumb.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming Tampa Bay.
I'm thinking Tampa's gonna win, but who knows, man? The Cowboys, their offense it seems pretty great.
Yeah, they have firepower.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay. They have the continuity. They're bringing everybody back.
Yeah.
And they added pieces like Giovanni Bernard. They added some veterans to what was already a stacked roster.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Tampa Bay wins pretty convincingly. I think it'll be a close game early on, and in the second half they'll just pull away.
Yeah, I just think too, like the Tampa Bay defense is so superior to a lot of the defenses in the league, and they're just coming in red hot off a Super Bowl. So guys like Devin White and Jones, like they're gonna be ready to go.
Yeah, right as I said, we're not gonna predict the game.
Yeah, we predict it. Yeah.
But moving on to the other games, we're going to start off with our favorite teams. Yeah. For those who don't know, I'm a Falcons fan. Riley is a Browns fan, obviously, wearing the Baker jersey. The Falcons play the Eagles. Jalen Hurts. Who else is on the roster? I don't know. Devontae Smith.
Is he even playing?
Maybe.
I heard he...
Is he questionable?
Yeah, I think he's questionable. That's one thing, man. Devontae Smith, I feel like he could be the best wide receiver in the class, but he's just so injury prone that I'm just honestly worried about his career.
Yeah.
He hasn't even started yet.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, he's a smaller dude.
Yeah.
I know he played through at Alabama, but the NFL is a completely different game. It's a lot more physical.
Absolutely.
So we'll see how he fares. But I think the Falcons will win this game. I think it'll be a closer game. I think it'll be 27-21, something along those lines. I think Kyle Pitts will catch a touchdown.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley will go over 100 yards. He won't catch a touchdown. And I think the Falcons' defense will take advantage of Philadelphia's older, kind of beaten down offensive line. Their new defensive coordinator, Dean Pease, likes to blitz a lot, so he'll bring the pressure on Hurts. And there's new coaching staffs on both sides, so that kind of cancels each other out. But I think Atlanta has the better coach.
Yeah. Just
from how good of a candidate he was to be a head coach. And Nick Sirianni, I'm just not a fan of his. So I'm going to go with the Falcons to win the game. But I wouldn't be surprised if they lost because they've lost on opening day, I think, now 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
They haven't won since they beat Chicago in 2017. So
I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised either way.
I think the Falcons will take this one, too. I don't think it'll be a convincing win, but I think they can win more than 10 points. Just that
10 points.
Yeah, I feel like Pitts is I just feel like he's going to establish himself early. Like you said, I don't think he'll have a ton of receptions, but I think he can get a touchdown. And same with Ridley. Like we know, there's a lot of concern about how is he going to fare without Julio. But like you said earlier in a couple podcasts, like he fared better without Julio in those 9 games.
He had his best games when Julio Jones didn't play last year.
So I think he'll be super helpful, and I think they're just going to establish the pass early, and that's going to make the run a lot easier.
Yeah, another thing is Pitts is playing his hometown team. He's from Philly.
He's going to be fired up for that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But Jalen Hurts too. Like the Eagles have so many new faces with their team. Like a lot of guys are gone. Obviously, Aguilar's not there anymore. So it's just it feels like it's going to be a whole new system for them. And now, like Jalen Hurts, we're really going to see like, all right, can you take the throne in Philadelphia? We don't know yet. I think he's a more than competent quarterback, but just with the roster he's got going for him, I don't know if he's the kind of guy that can, break out and be like a Lamar Jackson kind of guy. I'm not saying like he's a big runner, but a guy that can really take over a game.
I'd say he's more on the Cam Newton side of things, where he's a bigger guy, and he's not gonna run for 1,000 yards like Lamar will, but he can run.
He's more like systematic. Like I'm gonna run if I have to, rather than this play I'm going 20 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree with you there. I think the Falcons will take it. However, when it looks at the Chiefs and the Browns, listen, since the weeks have passed, I went from thinking the Browns are going to get obliterated to now I think it's going to be a good game. I still think they're going to lose because the Chiefs are the best team in football in September. I don't think they've lost since Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have been together.
Yeah, he hasn't lost in September yet.
Yeah, they love to blow out teams early on. But if the Browns had the same defense they had last year, I think they absolutely would put up 40. But now with the new faces they have, adding Johnson, adding Hill, adding Newsome in the draft, Owusu even, I think their defense is strong. I still think it's going to be extremely difficult to stop guys like Kelsey and Hill. They don't really have anything to match that. If they play Hill in man coverage, it's over. But
I think Owusu Karamoa is the best matchup that you can get for Kelsey.
Yeah,
honestly, because like
he's quick.
He's a hybrid safety linebacker. Obviously, he's a rookie, so he'll probably won't fare too well at first. But as the years go on, I think he'll be one of those guys like a Derwin James type of player, where he's kind of like a guy who you can put on a tight end of that caliber, and he can kind of match up well with him because he has the body for it and he has the speed and the coverage skills for it.
Yeah, and I think like going into this week, like there's no more pressure he's ever going to really face at this. I mean, at this point in his career, it's his first game and he's playing against debatably the best team in the league. His hardest competition he's going to have to face offensively. So there's so much pressure now. If he can have an average game at best, he's going to look really good for the rest of the season because he's going to be confident in himself and the rest of the team too. But offensively, I think the Chiefs, defensive wise, they're a good defensive team, but I think the Browns are going to be able to take advantage of them. They're going to be able to establish the run early. And once they do that, I think the passing game is going to be wide open. It's going to be super interesting to see Odell back in the lineup. I still think Landry's like their number one option per se, just because Baker loves giving them the ball so much. But I think what it really comes down to is the tight end play. If Austin Hooper can get himself involved, Harrison Bryant's obviously there, and Njoku, like, I would love for the guy to get traded just because I feel like he has so much potential, and they're wasting it in Cleveland because they have three guys. But if they can establish that pass, because we know they're going to be able to run the ball, and that was their downfall when they lost to the Chiefs last year. They didn't establish the run at all. They didn't run until the second half, really. So if they can do that, I think it'll be a really, really good game. But at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs will take it.
Yeah, I think Cleveland has like the perfect roster and like the perfect formula to beat the Chiefs. I think that they run the ball really well. They're the best tandem in the NFL with Chubb and Hunt. And if they can control the clock and keep Mahomes off the field, the defense will obviously have more rest, and they have the pass rushers to get to him.
Yeah.
They have Garrett, Myles Garrett. I think he's going to lead the league in sacks this year.
I agree.
Personally. And then you have Clowney on the other side, who has never been a huge sack guy since he's gotten into the NFL, but he's more than capable of being that bookend option. Exactly. The guy on the other side. And they picked up Tat McKinley, too, who's an energy guy who will be a rotational guy for them.
Yeah.
So I think the Browns have a really good shot at winning. I'll still go with the Chiefs. I think it'll be a closer game. I think I'll say like 34-27, something along those lines.
Ooh, yeah.
But I think it'll be a close game, a good game.
I hope it's like a game of the week kind of thing where it's just both teams are going back and forth.
Yeah.
Because, like offensively, it's going to be an onslaught. But, yeah, it should be super interesting. But going to a bit of the rest of the league now, I guess we'll just quickly go through some of the games.
Yeah.
The Bengals taking on the Bears. Joe Burrow, I think he's back.
Yeah, he's back.
He's back. Bears, they're rolling with Andy Dalton for now. Seems like. What do you think for this game?
I'm going to go with the Bengals.
The Bengals?
Is it in Cincinnati or in Chicago?
It is in Chicago.
Okay, now the Bears are going to win.
Yeah, I think the Bears too. I just think that like their defense is so good. Like they're almost wasting their defense because their offense is so. It's not lackluster, but it's not.
It's mid.
Yeah, it's mid. So I think they're going to be able to get to Burrow. We know they improved their offensive line a little bit, but it's still not what it needs to be. And obviously, Jamar Chase is a rookie. T. Higgins is still young. These guys are going to be impact players. And Burrow's just settling back into the lineup. So I think he'll have a good game. I don't think Andy Dalton's going to be anything special. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. But yeah. I'll take the Bears.
Yeah, especially early in the season, defenses are usually a bit ahead of offenses usually in terms of just like how far they are within the playbook and just with timing and stuff. It's hard to score a lot of points early on in the season. That's why there's a lot of low scoring games early in the season.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it's gonna be a closer game. I'm gonna take Chicago since it's in Chicago.
Yeah.
And a low scoring game though.
And now that I'm looking at this, I made a bit of a mistake. Gonna be honest with you. That was week 2.
Oh.
So it's actually the Bengals and the Vikings week 1.
Oh, I'll go with the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Vikings. I just think Dalvin Cook is so dynamic.
Our bad.
Yeah, my bad. That was my fault. Dalvin Cook is so dynamic. I think he'll be able to bolster through the Bengals defense. But same goes for them. Like Kirk Cousins, I think he'll be able to get it done. The Bengals defense I think it's underrated. I think they
picked up Trey Hendrickson from New Orleans. We'll see how he does without Cameron Jordan on the other side.
Yeah.
Although just from watching the Saints play the Falcons, I think he was always the guy that got the most pressure out of everybody. So we'll see how he does in Cincinnati. They paid him a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they picked up a couple other players that aren't coming to mind right now, but they have Jesse Bates in the secondary, who is one of my favorite safeties in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he's a top 5, maybe top 3 safety in the NFL. He's kind of an all-around player. He can do just about everything. So he's a really good player.
And I'll even relate all the stuff that I said about the Bears getting to the Bengals offense. I think the same can go for the Vikings. I don't think they're as good of a defensive team, obviously, but guys like Daniel Hunter, he'll be able to get to Burrow, especially with that offensive line.
Eric Kendricks is a top 5 middle linebacker.
Yeah.
In the NFL.
But yeah, moving on from here, the 49ers will be taking on the Lions at home. We'll finally get to see Jared Goff play with his new boys. I think this one's an absolute murder for the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 49ers.
This is a we're back kind of game for these guys. I think they're going with Garoppolo to start the season. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see when Trey Lance gets intermingled. But, I like their running game a lot. I'm interested to see what Trey Sermon can do. Receiving-wise, they got a good group of receivers. Kittle, I think he's the second best tight end in the league. He could even push it up to the first if he can stay healthy for this year. But defensively, getting all those guys back is going to be massive. I think they just signed Josh Norman, too, to a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
Getting Bosa back is going to be huge. He's a comeback player of the year candidate. I think it's the 49ers.
Fred Warner. I mean, they're a stacked team. Last year was kind of a blip.
Oh, for sure.
With injuries. But I think they'll be back, and I think they're going to manhandle the Lions.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see how Goff does. Obviously, losing Galladay, that's going to be really tough for them. But
they don't have much around him.
Yeah, there's not DeAndre Swift. I like him a lot, but I think there's only so much you can do.
He's on my fantasy team, so
Yeah.
I hope he.
Yeah, there's really only so much you can do with that much talent. But it should be interesting. But moving on, this is one of the more interesting games going on. The Cardinals taking on the Titans.
That's a really good game.
These are two teams that people have high expectations for. I think
I have huge expectations for the Cardinals.
Yeah. The only tough thing is they're just in such a difficult division that it's going to be extremely difficult for them to get out.
Yeah.
Because obviously, the Seahawks, I think they're on the downfall a little bit, but they still got Russell Wilson and a lot of pieces that are going to make them good.
Yeah, we said it a couple weeks ago when we did the NFC West breakdown. I think that the Seahawks have the worst roster top to bottom, but I think they obviously have the best quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of evens out to a certain extent. And when you have a good quarterback, somebody like Russ, it's kind of hard to overcome that.
Yeah.
As the opposing team.
And we talked about it last episode, Chase Edmonds, super underrated at running back. He can pretty well do it all. And as a second option, he was extremely good. So now being the first guy, the guy they lead with, I think he'll be even better just getting more touches because he's going to be able to receive the ball a lot. And obviously guys like Hopkins, AJ Green, it'll be interesting to see how he gets into the fold. And then defensively, I like their defense a lot. Simmons is a guy that I think needs to have a huge year.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
Or no, Isaiah Simmons.
Simmons.
Jeffrey Simmons is on.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Isaiah Simmons obviously struggled a bit in his rookie year, but I think he'll have a bounce back year. J.J. Watt. I'm really curious to see how he works in. Obviously, he's not the same player he used to be, but he's still a powerful force.
Now he's not even the best player on the defensive. Well, they play a 3-4, so he's not on the line, but he's not even their best pass rusher.
Yeah.
Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
So, and looking at Tennessee, Julio Jones is there now.
Yeah.
We'll see how they do. They lost Arthur Smith, so we'll see how their offense kind of works. They hired from within, so shouldn't be too much of a drop off.
Yeah.
And then when in doubt, you just give it to Henry and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
For me, I'm going to go with the Cardinals here to win the game. I think there's still a lot of concerns at the secondary of the Titans and their pass rush as well. So I think the Cardinals will be able to take advantage of that and put up some points. But we'll see how that Tannehill, Julio, and A.J. Brown mixture works in. And then obviously Derrick Henry, too. The guy's an absolute monster.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals as well in a close game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans won because it's in Tennessee.
For sure.
Right. So
it'll be a good game. I think that'll be the best game of the week.
One of them,
honest,
definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the better matchups.
Yeah,
Interesting
they
matchup.
both have their strengths and weaknesses that are pretty clear, and that I think both teams will be able to take advantage.
Yeah.
Next game, another really good game. You got the offensive rookie of the year going up against defensive rookie of the year. Washington against the Chargers. This one's difficult. It really is kind of like an offense versus defense kind of thing, because I think the Chargers do have a good defense, but injuries have not let us fully see how it is.
Yeah.
But with this one, right now, I think I'm going to go Washington, because I think they're going to be just so pumped up and amped, ready to go defensively, that they're just going to attack, and it's going to be super tough for Herbert. But I think he's also a guy, I think he's an MVP candidate, that he can just make something happen on his own. And, Eckler is looking like a beast. If you have him in fantasy, I think you're going to do pretty well. But, yeah, they got a lot of options, too. This game's going to be super tough, but I think I'm going to go with Washington here, just because I think they're going to play it safe on offense. They're going to be able to clock manage with Gibson and then just shut it down defensively.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Washington. Like I said earlier, defenses are always ahead of offenses.
Yeah.
Earlier on in the season, and the Chargers just got a new head coach, new system, new everything. So the football team should be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And they have the 4 guys up front: Young, Payne, who's the other guy from Alabama? Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen,
Yeah.
and Montez Sweat. They should be able to take advantage and get to Herbert, bother him.
Should be another great game, though. And then now to where bottom of the league, pretty much. Jaguars, Texans.
Jaguars.
Yeah, it's got to be the Jaguars. I think Trevor Lawrence has a really good debut. Obviously, I mentioned it before. I love their wide receiver room, so I think he'll be able to get. I think he could have a 300-yard plus game.
Yeah.
Especially with this Texans defense, which I don't have too much belief in.
I think in his first game they're going to rely on the run a lot. So I think James Robinson will have a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going with the Jaguars. The Texans are just.
They're a shell of themselves, really.
Yeah, they're just a mess.
They shot themselves in the foot, and then worst comes to worst, obviously the whole Deshaun Watson situation. I think they got Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. That's his 4th team in 4 years.
Yeah. I don't even think he's bad. He's just not.
He's a good fill-in guy, but he's not someone that's going to, be the reason you win a game.
Yeah.
I think he'll be the reason you don't lose it, but yeah, I don't think he'll give the game away, but he's not going to be doing anything special to help him out. I could definitely see the Texans going 1-15 this year, or 1-16, I should say.
Yeah, they'll be at the bottom of the league.
Yeah. Moving on now to our next game, we have a barn burner between the Jets and the Panthers. For me,
it's a cool storyline.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold playing his former team.
Yeah.
And his replacement.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Jets here. And
yeah,
I'm going based off of the faith that you have in them, because you've talked a lot about how much they've improved.
Yeah, I talked a lot about the Jets. When the draft was coming up, I wasn't a fan of Zach Wilson at all.
No.
I mean, we even made an Instagram clap. We even made an Instagram clip about how we didn't like Zach Wilson, me especially.
Yeah.
I think it started off I don't understand why Zach Wilson is.
Yeah. He was getting Patrick Mahomes comparisons.
Yeah.
It was valid.
It was unfair, but after watching him in the preseason, I kind of see it.
Yeah.
I see the Aaron Rodgers comparisons, just the way he throws the ball, the way he can quickly turn his hips.
Mm-hmm.
I like what I've seen so far, and he's been probably the best rookie quarterback in the preseason so far. I don't think. Well, maybe Mac Jones has been really good too.
Yeah.
But I like what I've seen from Zach Wilson. They've done a good job of putting a lot around him. Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. They drafted Michael Carter out of UNC. They have Tevin Coleman, drafted some offensive linemen. A good offensive coordinator, by all counts, coming from Shanahan. They all do good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take the Jets too, because, I don't like Carolina.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just don't have enough faith in Darnold just yet. We haven't really seen much from him. McCaffrey's getting back in the lineup properly now. He'll be healthy, so that should be interesting to see. Obviously, they lost Samuel in free agency.
But they got Terrence Marshall, who I think is going to be really good.
Yeah. From LSU, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they got Anderson, they got Moore, and they got Marshall. That's a hell of a room. And then defensively, I think they're solid.
They're young.
Yeah, they're very young.
Derek Brown last year. Jeremy Chin, who was really good.
Yeah.
They got J.C. Horn in the draft. I forget who's on the other side. I forget. But they have a pretty young defense. A lot of them going into their second years. I think they only drafted defensive players last year.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them are going into their second year. They have that experience. So they should be an improved defense, but I don't think there'll be anything special yet.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to take the Jets.
Yeah, I agree. I just think they're going to come out very hungry and ready to go. Obviously, they got their new QB they feel confident with. So, I agree with the Jets. Next one. This is a really interesting game. The Seahawks and the Colts. Because Carson Wentz is starting.
Yeah.
We know that.
I think as of today, he's cleared to play.
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks here, and I think the Colts are the better team, and I think they'll finish the better team. But I think the Seahawks are known to start a bit better. Obviously, like last year, Russell Wilson was an MVP candidate the first half of the year. I think it's going to be the very same this year, but I think he won't trail off in the end. I think he'll continue that pace. But yeah, I think the Seahawks here. I think they're a team that's not happy about the way they finished last season. We know that with Wilson. I think their defense, they were 7th in sacks this year. I think they'll be even higher this year with their pass rush. I like the Seahawks a lot. I think the Colts are the better team, like I said, but Carson Wentz in his first start, new head coach, obviously, well, same head coach, but yeah, I think it'll be a learning experience for the Colts in this first week.
I'm gonna take the Colts. I think the defense is gonna kind of carry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Wentz to Indianapolis. I think coming back with Frank Reich, I think he's gonna kind of resurrect his career to a certain point. I don't think he'll be an MVP candidate like he was before, but I think he'll be a good quarterback.
Yeah. He can be above average, like top 15 QB.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Michael Pittman and what they have kind of around him. Jonathan Taylor, I'm a huge fan of his at running back. I think he'll have a breakout year this year.
They're very deep at running back.
Yeah, so him, Hines, Marlon Mack. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of guys. T.Y. Hilton's out for a couple weeks, so that'll hurt him. But I'm going to take the Colts. I think it's in Indianapolis, right? So
This is the first time we've disagreed, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it could go either way.
Yeah, that'll be one of the better games of the week, too.
Yeah, for sure. And then another really good game, the Bills taking on the Steelers.
Is that a good game, though?
I don't know. I think the Steelers are one of those teams. I think they have one of the biggest question marks on them. It's like we really don't know how good they're going to be.
Yeah.
Ben's career is slowly ending, but they have a lot of young guys offensively. Obviously, Najee Harris at running back. People have a lot of faith in him. I think he's going to be good. And Claypool and Juju obviously at wide receiver, and Deontay Johnson is so underrated. Like, I think he's the best out of the three when it comes to just, you need a catch, get the ball to this guy. And Eric Ebron, too. Like, I like him a lot at tight end. And their defense has always been good. It's always been really good. And Fitzpatrick, I think, is one of the best safeties in the league.
He's my favorite safety in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he can just do everything. I think he's the best ball hawk in the NFL.
Yeah. He's so adaptable, the way he plays.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But with all that,
I think he's Nick Saban's favorite player ever, too.
Really?
Yeah,
that's
favorite
pretty
player
high praise.
He's ever coached.
Yeah.
So I think he was saying he cried when he got drafted.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Damn. But yeah, with all that being said, I think the Bills take it. I just think they're so dominant offensively with Josh Allen. I think he's a guy that can definitely win an MVP this year. Diggs obviously is a beast. He was one of his best seasons we've ever seen from the guy, and I think he'll play even better this year. Obviously, I still think they're a bit weak at running back, but having Joe on made me a little bit more confident talking about Zachary Moss. He thinks he's going to kind of step into his own, maybe take the throne over Singletary, who is like a very competent running back. By no means do I think they're bad. I just think, compared to some of the other big teams.
They're not really a running team to begin with. They're very heavy on passing.
Very pass first. But I do think if you can get some yards out of your guys rushing-wise, it's going to make the passing game that much more dangerous.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, and then defensively, I think, once again, like, they're not a team that you look at as, they're top 5 in the league, but they're guys that are going to get it done. Their secondary is up there in the league with Poyer,
Hyde, Tre'Davious White.
Yeah, so I'm very confident in them. I think it'll be a Bills win. I think
it'll
be a definitive win.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll embarrass the Steelers, but they're going to show, like, hey, we're coming for the crown this year.
Yeah. You dig.
Yeah. And then we got the Broncos taking on the Giants. That's
a tough one. Man.
I'm going to go with the Giants here because I believe very heavily in their defense, and I think Teddy Bridgewater being the number 1 QB, I think he's better than Drew Lock, but still not, the upper echelon in the league, obviously. So I think the Giants are going to be able to hold them on defensively alone. Having Barkley back is going to be huge. Obviously, it's going to be tough because Denver's got one of the best defenses in the league. Actually, that's making me struggle.
I'm taking the Broncos.
I'm taking the Broncos, too. And the more I talk, the more I'm like, Broncos. Because, they're just going to be able to shut Daniel Jones down. And Barkley, it's his first game back. Like, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I think the Broncos have one of the better rosters in the NFL. So, and they have Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. He's nothing, like you said, nothing special. But like we said about Fitzpatrick a couple weeks ago, he doesn't have to be anything special. He just needs to be a competent game manager, which is what he is.
Yeah.
So, and just get the ball to the playmakers. They have a bunch. They have Judy, Cortland Sutton's back now. KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, Noah Fant, Javonte Williams in the backfield. They just drafted Melvin Gordon. They have a lot, so I'm gonna take the Broncos.
Yeah.
In a decisive.
Yeah, I can't believe
one.
how fast I turned to myself there. Yeah, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I still think that the Broncos are going to take it handedly. Yeah. Next game, this is one of the. I'm very excited for this one. Dolphins versus Patriots. Finally going to get to see Mac
Tua
Jones
versus Mac Jones.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even think about that.
I'm gonna take Miami.
I also agree. I'm going to take Miami because I think having the experience with Tua is going to help a lot. Obviously, both teams are great defensively, but the Dolphins are. I think they're at a bit of another level.
Mm-hmm.
And offensively, I think they're still good enough that they're going to be able to put up points on the board. But this game, I think, is going to be very even, and just a dogfight.
It'll be close. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots won.
Yeah.
We know how Belichick is, so yeah, I'm gonna take Miami still. I think Tua's looked good in the preseason.
Yeah.
I know it's just preseason, but it's a good sign, and I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate.
Oh, for sure. He's still so young.
Yeah.
And if the Dolphins weren't as good as they were, he wouldn't have got that hate.
Yeah.
Because it would have been like, oh, he's with a new team. I think he's in such a different scenario with it'll be like kind of like Fields if the Bears play well as a team and Justin comes in and he doesn't do that well, it'll be the same thing they talk about with Tua. It's just like it's a good, but it's also a bad circumstance to be in because there's a lot more pressure. But I think Tua can handle it. Obviously, playing at Alabama, he knows what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next game, another big one, the Packers and Saints. Obviously not as big as if Breeze was still there, but I think Jameis Winston's going to do a good job this year. I think we're going to talk about bold predictions. I have one for him, but I'm going to take the Packers here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers.
I think they got the best player in the game, and he's at quarterback. He's last year's MVP. I think it's going to be a bit of a reality show with the Packers this year, but I still think they're going to be able to hold it down. They're all professionals over there, and obviously Devontae Adams. I think he has a chance to be an offensive player of the year this year.
Mm-hmm.
Getting Adam Jones back, A.J. Dillon being the second option, he's an absolute beast. It'll be cool to see what he can do. But I go with the Packers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers easily. I think they'll not a blowout, but they'll win.
Now the Bears, who they're actually playing, not the Bengals, they're playing the Rams, and I think the Rams are going to ram them. Like it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Because the Rams are just so dominant defensively, and especially with Andy Dalton as the guy.
I mean, I have high hopes for the Rams personally. I picked them to win the Super Bowl, so I'm gonna take the Rams easily.
Yeah.
I think Stafford will have a huge debut on Sunday night. I think it's perfect.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna take the Rams.
The Rams are
handily.
such a primetime team, and with Stafford in the fold there, like it's just a match made in heaven. It really is.
First time in SoFi with fans.
Yeah. If I'm gonna make a bold prediction here, I think it'll be like a 34-10 game. Even more than that. Like I think it's going to be very convincing, but we'll see.
Yeah,
obviously we don't know what Andy Dalton's going to be like. Who knows? He could ball.
We know what Andy Dalton is. He's gonna.
That's true. But the very last game we got here is the Monday night game. It's the Ravens taking on the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about this before. Like the Raiders are like the most mid team in sports. They're not bad, but they're not good.
Literally.
Like Carr is
the literal definition of it.
Carr is a serviceable quarterback. Jacobs is a good running back.
Carr is a good quarterback.
Yeah,
I think he's just on a bad team.
Yeah, exactly. They got a lot of guys that are above average, but not too much, to really separate them from the pack.
Darren Waller is
a beast.
amazing.
Yeah. I can't believe you got him in fantasy. I can't believe he fell that far.
I know.
Got him in like the 4th round?
Third.
Yeah.
But
late third.
Yeah. Like middle of the 3rd round.
Yeah. I'm surprised by that. But Ravens, I think the Ravens take this one. I think this is a completely different year. I think they focused a lot there. But they focused a lot on the passing game, and Lamar Jackson looks better. I think he's going to be a lot better this year. Obviously, getting Bateman in the draft is going to help out a lot.
Is he playing? I know a lot of the guys are hurt.
Yeah, I don't know if he's playing just yet. I know they had 3 different guys that are like questionable for week 1. We really don't know.
See.
But having Bateman, I think, takes the pressure off of Marquise Brown a bit. I like Mark Andrews a lot. They extended him, I believe.
Yesterday.
Yeah, and defensively, they're so sound. I mean, they obviously lost a couple guys, but they're very deep, and they know what it takes to play. Baltimore's always been a defensively heavy team.
They've always been good.
Yeah, I think they take this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Baltimore too. I think it's gonna be closer than you would think it would be on paper. Yeah. I think Darren Waller will have a big game. I hope he does.
Hope.
For fantasy.
Yeah.
What's the word? Purposes.
Yeah.
But I think the Ravens will take it. I think Lamar will have a big game. But I think it'll be a closer game.
Yeah. But yeah, that about wraps up the week 1 predictions, I guess. Now we're kind of thinking about doing some bold predictions for the season.
Uh-huh.
I have 3 listed for myself. Do you want to just rattle them off back and forth?
Sure.
All right. My first one. I don't know if this is too bold, but I think Trevor Lawrence breaks the rookie passing touchdown record.
Which is what?
I believe it's 31 right now with
Herbert had it
yeah.
last year.
I think it was 28 before that, maybe 27. But I think Lawrence will throw like 34 touchdowns this year. I think he's going to have a big year.
Well, the extra game kind of helps. But
Yeah, the
still.
extra game definitely helps. I guess it is a bit more bold than I thought. But yeah, I think he breaks the rookie touchdown record because he's a generational talent. We haven't seen much of a guy with the height he has and the arm strength. And I think he is with a good offensive team with the Jaguars. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be winning a lot of games, but they'll be putting points on the board.
2 of the 3 of mine have to do with rookies as well. But my first one has to do with another rookie quarterback, and that's Justin Fields. Okay. You know, I'm a huge fan of his.
Yes.
But I'm going to say he will take over the Bears by the end of September, maybe early October, and lead them to the playoffs.
Ooh. So how many games would that be? Like 6 games in?
No, like 4.
4? Oh yeah, end of September, yeah.
I think those be 1 and 3. Fields will take over, and he'll lead them to the playoffs.
I think so. That would be a great story.
Because Nagy's coaching for his job, right?
Yeah.
So if they go down even a little bit, he's gonna have to make a change just for the sake of his job. So
also for the sake of the fans too, it's a hell of a lot more entertaining to see Fields out there rather than Dalton, because Dalton had his time.
Yeah.
And this is a transition year for the Bears. You know, they can make the playoffs, but they can also be one of the lower level teams. So I think you just got to kind of take a chance with Fields.
Mm-hmm.
My second one, I think the Saints safely secure a playoff spot with Jameis Winston leading the league in passing yards. He did it 2 years ago with the Buccaneers. Obviously, he had a lot of touchdowns. He had a lot of interceptions as well. He got laser eye surgery. We haven't really seen much of him since with the Saints. I think he made a good career move being under Drew Brees. I think he was basically a sponge. He's soaking up as much information as he could.
Yeah. He made the best Saints throw of the year last year.
Yeah, he threw a touchdown in that playoff game. I remember we talked about it. I thought he should have started that game because Brees just didn't look good enough and ready to play. I think Jameis Winston's going to have a good year. By no means do I think the Saints are going to be a top team in the league, but I think they can squeeze in a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm. My next one, the extra game kind of helps this one, but I think Myles Garrett will lead the league in sacks and break the sack record.
Really?
Which is 22.5.
Oof. Is it Michael Strahan that has the record?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
22.5 sacks. So
that would be crazy.
That's my bold prediction. I think just with what they put around him, I think Clowney will help out a lot.
Yeah.
Give him a lot of better looks. Coming off the edge. I mean, he was on pace. I don't know what he was on pace for last year before he got COVID, but he was on a great pace last year. And with the extra game, I think it'll make it a lot, not easier because it's not easy, but
yeah,
I think he could do it.
For sure. This one, I'm going to stick with the Browns here with the third one. I thought I might as well add one. Because if we're talking bold predictions, might as well just go for it here. This one's big. I think Baker Mayfield will establish himself as an MVP candidate.
I see it.
Now, when I say bold, I mean bold. Because he is not even close to an MVP candidate from what he's shown in recent history. Obviously, his second year was horrible. Third year, he looked a lot better, but they were focused on rushing, and even like 4 of those games, it was pouring rain. You couldn't really throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, I think Kevin Stefanski just won Coach of the Year. I think he's got a year under his belt with that offense. The system looks good. You got a dominant force with 1 and 2 at Hunt and Chubb. Bringing Odell back, you got the 3-headed monster at tight end. I think this is the year for Baker to show himself like, hey, this is why I went number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be in the conversation.
My last one is a Falcons one. Kyle Pitts will go over 1,000 yards because he has to, because he's the 4th overall pick, and you didn't take a quarterback, so he has to make an immediate impact.
Yeah,
I slurred that so bad. But yeah, Kyle.
It came from the heart.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is gonna go over 1,000 yards, and that's bold because tight ends usually start pretty slow.
Yeah.
Just look at recent history. I think only one tight end's gone over 1,000 yards. I think it was Mike Ditka, and that was like a long time ago. That was
with the Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it. I think he's going to be the number 2 option in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
Could even be number 1 depending on how they really use him.
Yeah, in the red zone, I think he'll be the number 1 target.
For sure.
But I mean, he has all the skills to do so. Arthur Smith loves to use tight ends, so he's in the perfect spot to make an immediate impact. But we'll see. Would I predict he would go over 1,000 yards? No. I think he'll be more around 700 to 800. But I think he can do it. He's really talented.
Fair enough. I think that's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're right. But
who knows?
Based off of our history,
yeah,
it's probably not.
Feel free to rip me in class if you think I'm wrong. I probably am.
Yeah. But next week we're doing Kanye versus Drake, CLB versus Donda. We were gonna do it this week, but we want to give it another week.
Yeah.
With CLB just to really intake it. I mean, I've listened to it like 5 times. Yeah. So
I listened to Donda a lot when it first came out, so I let it kind of sit with me. Certified Lover Boy, listened to it a couple times.
Yeah.
It felt different the last time I listened to it, so I feel like my take on it's going to be a bit different.
Yeah, it'll be fun for sure, because we're going to do kind of like a hit-for-hit sort of thing, so we're going to do that next week.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below, and we'll see y'all next week. Take it easy.
Hey, wild.
Peace.
I was about to say peace, and I'm like, wait, that's not mine.